I want to share a story about a confirmation student of mine from many years ago. Her name is Sarah. She became a bat mitzvah at the congregation, but she stopped coming to religious school at some point in 8th grade. Before the confirmation year began, I reached out to her to draw her into the confirmation class. She was friendly when I called, and she agreed to attend a class or two. Within a few weeks of her return, I was deeply touched by what she told the whole class. "This is my safe place," she said. "This is where I know I am accepted for who I am. This is my happy place." These are just about the best words a rabbi can hear from a girl in 10th grade. And they affirmed a hunch I've always had, that the best thing I can do as a confirmation class teacher is to create a safe and nurturing place for our teens, for them to make connections with each other, with me, to their synagogue and their faith, and to their God. Every year, this is what I try to do with confirmation class. But it's not only the teens that need this. We all do. So let me share with you a few images from the past year at PTS. I witnessed the joy of a woman who converted to Judaism and shared that she had felt she had not found just the religious teachings that spoke to her, but she had found the community where she truly belonged. I saw the member who turned to us when life presented her with an unexpected tragedy. It was here she came in grief and was surrounded by the comforting words of our tradition and by welcoming hugs. I was touched by the bride who felt that it was so important that her grandfather, who was too ill to travel, be at her wedding, asked me to perform the wedding ceremony right there in her grandfather's hospital room, surrounded by immediate family. What strikes me over and over as I reflect on this congregation's 58-year history is how we are there for each other. At PTS, we are a kihila kedosha, a holy community in which each one of us plays an integral part. Last year at this time, we launched our Sukkot Shalom initiative. Everything we do is now driven by the question, how are we making a canopy of peace for all in our congregation? This impacts how we gather, how we pray, and how we learn. Sukkot Shalom is a totally homegrown idea. It grew out of my desire to emphasize that everyone, young and old, long-time and new members, men, women, boys, and girls all have a place here at Peninsula Temple Sholem. All are sheltered under our beautiful canopy. I wanted PTS to feel like a warm embrace for all of us who walk through our doors. And I think we've grown in spirit as a community through our commitment to creating that feeling. It is my job to help build community here at PTS. But it's also my job to be a window to the greater Jewish world, to know what the rest of the Jewish world is talking about and how that impacts us here at PTS. Recently, a book by the author Ron Wolfson called Relational Judaism has been inspiring congregations and their leaders to radically change how they change the role of a religious organization. Dr. Wolfson argues that Judaism is in its very essence a relational religion, born of a covenant between God and the Jewish people, sustained for millennia by a system of behaving, belonging, and believing. He concludes after more than 40 years of living and teaching the Jewish way, I have come to an understanding about the essence of Judaism. It's all about relationships. And after almost 20 years as a rabbi, I can say, It's all about that wedding in the hospital room, the hugs in our sanctuary, and the joy of a celebrating bat mitzvah whose face shares the pride of having accomplished something that she wasn't so sure she could do. Since I came to PTS 7 years ago, one of my goals has been to break down the barriers that keep us from sometimes getting to know each other. Inviting congregants to speak about their personal trials and triumphs on Yom Kippur afternoon has been an important part of that effort. When we talk openly and authentically, we might understand that we are not alone in the challenges we face or the dreams that we cherish. Sukkot Shalom is about creating that atmosphere of warmth and kindness that makes relational Judaism possible. Dr. Wolfson, who I am delighted to report will be our scholar in residence later this month, has articulated a methodology for relational Judaism that rests on the principles of relational engagement, strategies that we will use to attract new people and deepen relationships in our community. The mission of relational Judaism is really quite simple: to transform Jewish institutions from program-centric to relational communities. After reading Dr. Wolfson's book, I was happy to realize that here at PTS we had already taken the first steps towards creating a relational Judaism through which our Sukkot Shalom initiative can blossom. But taking the next step would require a relational Judaism to a higher level. We needed a tool, a process to take us further down this path. There's a wonderful Rosh Hashanah story told about how God instructed Adam to find the right tool for announcing the new year. It needed to be strong, but natural, forceful, but not overwhelming. Finally, after Adam had tried many different announcing tools, Adam brought God the horn of a ram, and God was pleased. It was the perfect tool for announcing the new year. It created a powerful yet welcoming sound that would wake people out of their spiritual slumber and let them know that something momentous was happening. Sometimes congregations need equally transformative tools as well. And several years ago at a National Reform Rabbis Conference, I heard about a tool that also was powerful and transformative. We all find teachers and inspiration for our growth wherever we can. And you may find it funny that I found inspiration in a really cool nun named Sister Judy Donovan, who is here with us this morning, who is doing congregation-based community organizing. But as with all good ideas, it has to be the right time, and now is the right time for us as a congregation as we look to move further down the relational Judaism road. This program grew out of the Industrial Areas Foundation in Chicago and is based on the premise that congregations can have a tremendous power to do social good. Community-based organizing as a congregation is a relational strategy to identify common concerns and then rally people to act. It's both a model of how to organize to have an impact and how to come together as a congregation. It was virtually unknown 10 years ago, and now it's been adopted by more than 170 Reformed congregations across the country. And what's beautiful about the process is that it's as much about strengthening our own relationships as an institution as it is about changing the world. We will emerge stronger and more connected, and that will allow us to have an even greater impact. Kolot, Connecting Our Voices, is the name for our new initiative. Kolot, which literally means in Hebrew, voices, is inspired by these principles: that each person has an important role to play in the community, that community can be a powerful force for good, and third, that we will be the strongest community possible if we are present with and listen to each other. Kolot has the dual benefits of bringing our congregants together and closer to each other through conversation, while identifying issues that we can organize around to do the work of social justice. 2 years ago, I began talking about this program with our social action chairs to plant the seeds for this idea. And since then, our entire board of trustees has embraced this idea. And with the tremendous leadership of Heidi Schell and Neil Tendowski, the co-chairs of Kolot, and their steering committee, Kolot has become a reality. It was Abraham Joshua Heschel who once wrote, "The world is in need of redemption, but the redemption must not be expected to happen as an act of sheer grace. Man's task is to make the world worthy of redemption. His faith and his works are preparations for ultimate redemption." We are called upon to be God's true partners. Kolot is a way for us to act in partnership with God to create the community we want, and I am excited to think about the potential that Kolot has and its impact on our ever stronger Sukkot Shalom and on the people in our community. Our first step in Kolot is to conduct conversations with hundreds of congregants between Sukkot and Hanukkah. And I am asking each of you here today to take part in a Kolot conversation. Sign up for a house conversation by filling out the card placed on your seat today. There will be a time when I am done speaking to fill them out, and members of the Kolot steering committee will come around to pick up your cards. You can either give your card to them or contact one of the members on the Kolot team at a later date. There is information available on the temple website and throughout our building. What comes next? Then we will analyze the information that has been gathered through these hundreds of small group conversations. We will reflect and learn from them, and then develop action steps that will strengthen our own community internally and impact the greater community externally. Part of the excitement is that this is a totally organic process. We don't know what the process will look like a year from now, but we know it will deepen our relationships. We know we will tell our stories to each other and express what values are important to us. But we don't know yet what community organizing will come out of these discussions. The Kolot Steering Committee will track the themes and the threads, and out of the many small group discussions will surely come a direction for communal action. And this requires all of us to take a leap of faith. And after all, isn't that an appropriate thing to do as a religious institution on a holy day? We will have to trust that the process of joining our voices together and engaging in conversations will lead us where we are meant to go. Faith. Rabbi Leo Beck taught, through faith, man experiences the meaning of the world. Through action, he is to give it meaning. The Kolot process gives us a way to join our voices and to put our faith into action in order to create meaning. There's a story told by the author and physician Rachel Remen about time she spent with her grandfather one Hanukkah. As the sky grew dark on the first night of Hanukkah, her grandfather read from his Bible. In the beginning, darkness was spread over the waters, and the Spirit of God moved in the darkness. And God said, "Let there be light." Her grandfather then told her, life and all of its blessings begin with God's gift of light. Now I will turn my lamps out, and there will be darkness, like there was in the beginning. We will see what it is like to receive the light. And so together in the dark, the two lit the candles for the first night of Hanukkah. And they continued this ritual for 8 nights, until all the candles were lit and the room was filled with the light of the menorah. Rachel Remen writes, "It was so beautiful that my heart ached and tears filled my eyes. 'It's so beautiful, Grandpa,' I said. 'Ah, yes,' he replied, 'but God's menorah is even more beautiful. God's menorah is made of people, not of candles. The story of Hanukkah says that God's light burns in the darkness, even without oil. That is one of the miracles of light. But there is more. There is a place in everyone that can carry the light. God has made us this way. When God says, 'Let there be light,' he is speaking to us personally. He is telling us what is possible, how we might choose to live. But one candle cannot do much in the darkness. God has not only given us the chance to carry the light, he has made it possible for us to kindle and strengthen the light in one another, and to pass the light along. This is the way that God's light will shine forever in this world." And so, as her grandfather taught her, and I pass on to you this day, there is a place in everyone that can carry the light, and together, as a community, we can light up the world. Through Kolot, we are strengthening and broadening this beautiful Sukkot Shalom that we've already created. And I can't wait to see where we will choose to shine our light. May God bless us on this journey that we embark on together, hand in hand and heart to heart. Kain Yehi Ratzon. So may this be God's will. Amen.